And did you have any input on the artwork when he's doing the comic books?
Yeah, it depends on the situation. Sometimes people ask me on and they're like, hey, do this, and other times it's like, hey, I have this. Do you have any thoughts about it? And it's a broad spectrum, it really, it's kind of like if someone asked you to come over and help them clean their apartment. If you have a very meticulous friend, they're like, no, 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 that doesn't go there. Like those dishes go there. And if your friend's like looser, they'll be like, just clean, help me do whatever. So working in comics is a lot like that. There are times when, like if I worked on The Flash or Wonder Woman, people were very specific to get all the colors right, to get all the angles right. Everything's got to be right. But if it's an indie book, or if it's a less popular character, or if it's a secondary character, someone might say, just do whatever you want. That doesn't matter. It's fun. Sometimes it's fun.
When it's coming in, was you limited to like specific colours, or was you or did you have free range of what ones you could do?
Again, it really depends. Like so for example, let's say you work on a Flash story. Flash is a good example because he has a very extensive group of secondary characters. There are guides for all those characters and the colors have to be consistent. That's when it becomes like animation. Like you have to make sure that the red of the Flash is the same red that it is every issue, that the yellow is the same yellow, that the way you turn the lightning into a color and effect, that has to be the same. But if there's some like new characters are the best. New characters and new villains. Ask anyone who's ever drawn a comic book in any capacity. New characters are the best because then you get to make them. You get to put your input into them, and you have a say. And it's kind of fun. Like there's a character called what was his name? Not Tarmac. Was it Tarmac? It might have been Tarmac. I cannot remember. There's a character, and there's a few characters that were in Milestone books that were in static comic book issues, and they made it to animation. And I sat there and I came up with the design for them, in some part. And then later on, I'm watching the animation. I'm like, that's how they translated my artwork. I informed that. I helped inform that decision. So that's really cool. Another thing that's really cool, this is kind of a tangent back to something I said before, but it's cool. It's very difficult to make artwork, and it's so like laborious and sometimes torturous that it sometimes feels like it's not great, but that's not true. Everyone who does not have the natural ability to draw has helped me to understand that it's kind of great if you know how to draw or sing a song or play an instrument or cook a meal or whatever you're good at. Like that's a great thing to be good at something. And the album cover I mentioned, the Wu-Tang album, Liquid Swords, I've seen t-shirts, I've seen it pop up on people's cars, I've seen it all over the place. The most impressive thing is that when I got assigned that, again, I did the digital color for it, the sketch was very open. It's a black and white sketch, and there's a lot of atmosphere and energy that the color brings to that Liquid Swords album cover. And so I saw someone's Instagram post, and it was their calf, and their entire calf was one half of the album cover. And it was a part of the album that had a lot of thin line work, but a lot of color. And so there's like this robust red background, and there's all of this like flesh tone and shadow and highlights, not unlike the blue highlight on my face. And I'm looking at that like, this guy loved this thing so much that he went to a tattoo artist and had this person replicate this thing. And I made those decisions like one night years ago going, I guess that's gonna be red. Okay. And now someone's wearing it on their body. Like, that's amazing.
And final question, who is your favorite turtle?
Donatello. Donatello's my favorite turtle because he was like the rational one. He's always the rational one. That was like the main reason. Like most of the depictions, they always make Raphael angry. Leonardo is like every leader, like Cyclops, like Captain America is kind of boring. So Leonardo is kind of like, whatever. Michelangelo, they usually make Michelangelo like the comic relief, but I love that Donatello's the smart one who's like trying to get out a good idea, and the other turtles are so busy getting knocked around that he's got to jump in the fight and stop his thought process. And then plus, I was absolutely a arcade Turtles game player, and I was all about sitting there for like 40 minutes, destroying the entire game. And the best, no matter what anybody says, the best character is Donatello. He doesn't have as much hit points, but he's got a further reach than all of the rest of the turtles. There it is, best turtle.
Well, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.
And is there anything you'd like to promote?
Like I said, I've got a book coming up. I haven't copyrighted the name of my book, but I have a book coming up. It's going to come out from Rosarium Press. So if anybody Googles Rosarium Press, they're a small press, but they've got really impressive books that are in their lineup. And just look out for me, Jason Scott Jones. And I've got some other things that are coming. So if anybody wants to check out my Instagram, it's Jason Scott Jones. It's at Jason Scott Jones. And then I have a photography and video Instagram, which is at JSJ Creative. So feel free to check me out, and hit me up with questions. If you're like a fan of Liquid Swords or Milestone Media or comics in general, I'm all for it.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for doing this. It's really
Thank you, man. Thank you for inviting me on. This was really cool. And anybody watching this, if you're a comics professional, if you're an animation professional, or if you love turtles, you should definitely be on this because this is fun.